Good morning, Rotary Club of Centennial. Could you please take a moment and silence your cell phones before we get going on this wonderful day? Ann West, could you inspire us, please?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Today I choose life. Every morning when I wake up, I can choose joy, happiness, negativity, or pain. To feel the freedom that comes from being able to continue to make mistakes and choices. Today I choose to feel life, not to deny my humanity, but to embrace it.
Thank you very much. Short, simple, and very nice. Good point. Mr. Shattuck, would you lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is Diane Zing here? She had the Rotary Minute. Mr. Ostegard, would you like to do an off-the-cuff? Don't give me that look. That's Trip. I think we may have a runner here. Go grab Kent. Sure, whatever he wants.
Well, actually, you know what I can do? Mike, I had a presentation this morning, but I'll do that for the Rotary Minute.
Okay, that works.
As you know, every year we sponsor It's not that big. We sponsor the Unified Sports Soccer Clinic at Grandview High School, and our foundation does. And we got a thank you this year from them. Every year as a sponsor, we also get a little publicity on their shirts, and I have one of those here as an example. Thank you, Jeannie. So there's the front, and then on the back, our Rotary symbol.
Very nice.
And then the students who participated also sent us a card, so I'm going to pass this around. So it's a thank you for our sponsorship. So
Very nice. Kent, before you sit down and give up the microphone, I think you've got the business minute too.
Yeah,
So
I tried to get it all out at one time.
that's right.
Good job.
okay, business minute. I work for A&B Bank. A, Apple, and Nancy B, Bank. We are called A&B Bank because we used to be known as American National Bank. And about 6-7 years ago, we got tired of fighting with the OCC, and the owners of the bank decided that we would change from a national bank to a state bank. So we're now a state charter bank. We're state chartered in 3 states. We're in Colorado, we're in Kansas, and we're in Wyoming. Colorado is the majority branches. We have about 22 branches in the state of Colorado. We're all over the western slope, the mountain communities, Colorado Springs, 3 branches here in Denver, and Fort Collins. We are a community bank. We consider ourselves to be a community bank. I wanted to stress a little bit about that. Community banks are a little, as most of you know, are different than some of the national and regional banks in that we have a little more flexibility in some of our credit guidelines. That's what I do, is I'm an underwriter for all of our credits. I work primarily in the energy loans as well as mostly what we call C&I, commercial and industrial. It's your business lending. I do everything, though. I do mortgage underwriting as well as the only thing that we don't do in our department is consumer loans other than real estate. That's done in the branches. But we centralized this about 6 years ago. Again, in our efforts to better serve our community, we thought we should centralize. Also, it was an effort to, how do I put this politically correct? Not deal with, or to deal better with some of our regulators. And so we went to centralized underwriting, and that's where I work. And so I'm down in Cherry Creek. I think I've mentioned this before. We're right on First Avenue. My offices used to look out on the mall. We are moving to the north side of the building and down to the second floor, which is great because it'll be warmer. So I'm looking forward to that because my offices are always cold this time of year. So I'm looking very much forward to that. We moved it this weekend. So other than that, that's the business minute. So thank you.
Kent, are you? Kent, is A and B flexible enough to lend to somebody like Tripp? Maybe.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Okay. Just checking for the parameters. I want to thank our custodian setup, Paul and Phil. Great job. Takedown is Ken Hope. Mark Gale, you're doing an excellent job of greeter. Have you taken a chance to look at the attendance sheet and maybe do a quick look at who got signed in? Done. Awesome. You're a great guy. Ann, thank you very much for the inspiration. And Don Shattuck, appreciate you leading us in the pledge. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? No. We do have a visiting ex-Rotarian who I'd love to see as a visiting current Rotarian. Frank, stand up. Let's give Frank Lohner. He's also our speaker today. A round of applause. It's great to see his smiling face here yet again. No wedding anniversaries this week, interestingly enough. Frank's birthday is the 9th. So a second round of applause for Frank for his birthday. And no other notable birthdays this week that I can speak of.
Is there any others, sir?
No notable birthdays this week that I can speak of.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mr.
Aw, I feel special, and you guys were almost in tune, so I'm very, very impressed with that. That went very well. We've got kind of a packed agenda on the club updates. Mr. Butler, while you're up, can you remind people what you asked me to remind them of?
With pleasure. And it was because Andrea reminded me to remind John, to remind everyone, that she would love for you to contact her directly with your menu items for the Casa Thanksgiving. Contact her directly. She sent us a couple emails. This last email had a kind of a current list on it of what she's expecting from us, or what slot she has filled. If you're interested and you see a blank there, please jump on that by contacting her directly, or there's a link in that email for the sign-up sheet, the e-version of that same sign-up sheet. So hit that link and you can go to that and remove all doubt. I would like to, we're getting close, so on the day of the event, I know Andrea is going to organize it, but I was thinking we could take a little bit off of her plate by arranging to have our own members carry food to the event for those that aren't going to the event. So we don't have to do it this second, but I'd like for folks that are going to the event to maybe be available to take food items from others that aren't going to the event. Cheryl is a good example. Cheryl has a big trays full of macaroni and cheese that somebody could balance in their lap all the way to. So anyway, we don't have to do that. But if that can be you, if you would make that known to us. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Butler. Mr. Eunice. So, per our bylaws, it's required that the president-elect present his president-elect nominee and his board of directors in denomination in the first meeting of November, and then we will vote on this slate the first meeting in December. So I'm going to ask Tim to stand up and present his 2018-2019 President-elect and Board of Directors.
Good morning, everybody. All right, well, the first one there is the one that John selected, so I have nothing to do with that for president. Past president, if I didn't have to put him on there, I would not nominate him. Okay. President-elect, though, I'm very excited about this, Samantha Johnson. Just so you know, Samantha has already finished 2 levels of leadership school. She's going to be finishing up the Rotary Leadership Institute in January. And I think she'll be a fine addition to this club as a president. Secretary Karen Berry agreed, causing me a lot of duress, but she agreed to be the secretary. Barb Medina, she twisted my arm, said I had to buy her lunch or something, but she's going to be the treasurer again.
If we vote on it.
Alan Jackson. I'm nominating Alan Jackson to be our Sergeant at Arms next year.
Yeah.
All right, this Millennial Satellite Group, I don't have a name from them yet because they get to choose who they send. Membership, Samantha Rowe. Nobody more qualified, I think, in this club than Samantha Rowe. Technology, John Peterson has agreed to continue with his tutelage of all of us that don't know a thing about it. Communications and marketing, no longer proposed. Jessica Seidner has agreed to be our communications and marketing. Where's she at? She's not here today. And fundraising, Trip Butler. Now, these are 2 new board seats that I've asked for to get rid of the at-large designation. So communications and marketing, I think, is very important. It's something that we don't do very well, and we really need to have a focus on it. And fundraising is becoming more and more important as we get into some of these bigger international projects, as well as some local projects that I think we should start looking at. So this is my slate for my president-elect and board of directors for next year. I hope that you guys all find it acceptable. Thank you.
All right, let's give a hand to everybody. Well, Mr. Eunice, now that you've sat down, would you like to go ahead and stand up again and talk about the business mixer? Don't give me the puppy dog look.
Okay, I put some more flyers on your tables. The Rotary Business Mixer is next Thursday at my place of business from 5 to 7. Byron has agreed to bring the wine, right? Correct, Byron? I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, Byron. The guy with the wine. You know, that tasting earlier is starting to show. We also have a few hors d'oeuvres and, finger food, stuff like that. But we've invited 4 other Rotary clubs as well as local businesses. So it'd be a good chance to get to meet some people and maybe stir up a new member or 2. So once again, it's this Thursday at my place of business. Address is on the invitation. Please try and RSVP if you can so we can get a rough head count. And that's about it. So I'll see you there from 5 to 7.
All right, thank you, Mr. Eunice. Mr. Hope, where are you hiding?
Back here. On everybody's table, I have 3 flyers. One is the sign-up sheet for the actual event, which is December 10th, and that will be the actual Christmas tree giveaway. It will occur at the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Department parking lot, 9 to 12. So I look forward to having most of our members there. So please sign up. That sheet will be kind of here the next couple weeks to make sure that everybody signs up. The other sign-up sheet is for the day before, which is December 9th. And December 9th will be at the Arapahoe County Library District main offices, and we'll be putting together the boxes with ornaments and lights for distribution the next day. That is between 9 and 2. I set forth 2 different shifts, so you can work hour and a half each time, I guess 2.5 hours each time. It may take less time, but we have, since we've not done this before, we're kind of building in a lot of inefficiencies and So hopefully we'll get it done that day. And then the last handout is for an opportunity for us to bring our Christmas ornaments that we have been saving for a while. And that will be November 18th. Thank you, Phil. And we need everybody to bring their ornaments, boxes to the storage container that will be at the Arapahoe County Library District parking lot, and that'll be between 9 and 10:30. I think before we asked everybody to save their peach boxes, so bring those peach boxes. We need at least 100 boxes. We have gotten some of these boxes like this from the PX from Allen, right? The peach boxes here would be great for ornaments. Liquor store boxes. Mark Gale was very nice to bring us samples so we can visually see what we need to bring. And then there's a couple large boxes as well. So, again, we'll need at least 100 boxes to put our ornaments and lights in for distribution. So bring those to the storage container on November 18th between 9 and 10:30. We'll be there to sort them and take them from you. If you have a conflict that day, make sure that you find somebody else to bring those ornaments and boxes for you. Get in touch with anybody on the committee for some help there. So we're on our way here. Everybody's kind of pitching in. The library district is pitching in. Dave Walsher with the sheriff's department is pitching in. So far, we have approximately 70 real live trees pledged for this event without any cost to us. So we're hoping to supplement that with additional trees, be they artificial or real ones. So this is a very important event, so we need everybody to participate and make sure that you sign up for the event, or both events, the 9th and the 10th, as well as bring your ornaments and boxes on the 18th, which is Saturday morning between 9 and 10:30. The 18th is the Arapahoe County Library District parking lot. I think I put the address on it, did I not?
It's on the website as well.
It's on the website, so 9 to 10:30. And we'll be storing those in the storage container until the 9th of December, when we're going to sort those into our boxes. So please comply with our requests. We've been working pretty hard on this. The committee's done a great job. A lot of moving parts, and we need everybody's help on this. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Hope. Let's do a save the date. In case you haven't, our holiday party is going to be on December 2nd up at Heritage Eagle Bend. What do we figure, 5:30, Phil? 6 for start time. So if you can put that in your calendars, we'll look forward to having everybody there. We'll start doing some RSVP stuff shortly so we know what kind of count for the hors d'oeuvres. Catherine Henshin, it's your turn. Please first introduce your guest, our newest future Rotarian.
If you haven't heard, the best recruiting tool is an Uber driver. And I'd love to introduce you to Jeannie Henshin's favorite child, Eric Hoff. If you haven't noticed, those of you on Facebook, he's the latest and best addition to my life. He works for Sierra Nevada Corp, and you guys will get to hear more about his world. Former Air Force intelligence, now at Sierra Nevada doing business intelligence and or business development, and he's going to be talking on the 12th. So, and he's already, I would like to say John actually recruited him, but we all know the Peach Queen is the best recruiter around here. So, got it. So we're excited to have it. So back to the holiday party and the annual auction. I called John because I haven't done anything, and I wasn't wondering if somebody else has done anything. So we are going to step it up as usual. We're going to fake it until we make it and get it done. As much as I've sort of been driving this, I would love a lot of other energy and enthusiasm. And if there are a few that would love to drive that, the live auction, who want to be the entertainers, we are going to look at that. But here's the key with Heritage Eagle Bend. Unlike in previous years where we've been able to set up the auction and have it organized and everything, we're going to be doing it at 3.
Around 3. Is that when
3
we're
o'clock.
getting in? Yeah.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I would love, and it's not just me, it's about the club. As you guys know, all of the money from our action items goes to support our foundation, and the foundation does amazing things. So the more money we raise at the auction, the more money we have for our foundation. So come generous, and if you're not generous, have a few cocktails, you'll become generous. So, email me if you're interested in helping participate in it. Again, would love new energy and new enthusiasm to it, new ideas. So, do you have everything? Okay, I will connect with you. All righty. So, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Catherine. Another save the date. So we're working on a boots on the ground project for the Casa Hogar Orphanage in Manzanillo, Mexico. Still working out the details. Andres has a little bit on his plate right now, which I'll explain to you in just a second. But tentatively, we're set up to leave either February 24th or 25th, and then return either March 3rd or 4th. So it's a good chance to spend 3 or 4 days working with orphans at the orphanage, and then maybe another couple of days on the beach with umbrella drinks. So put that in your planner as a possible project to get involved in. Next week, District Governor Abbas Rajabi will be visiting. We're also going to induct a new member at that point. So I'd like to request, if at all possible, everybody be here if you can for Abbas's visit.
Hey, John, will he be speaking?
Yes, he is the speaker. No? Yeah. Hopefully. He was emailing me back and forth, and I was actually scared for a moment that he was going to show up today, so I had to remind him it was next week. The board met last week, and we voted 2 new members into the group. So Angie O'Seely and Patrick McGuire have been voted in for membership. Patrick's going to be out of town for a few weeks, so Angie is going to be inducted next week by the district governor, so it's kind of like a papal blessing from above. So it's going to be a way better induction than if I was to do it, so looking forward to that next week. Tim Eunice, you already did the business mixer. The Casa Legacy dinner, we talked a little bit about getting the food, so that's going to be on November 15th. At the Advocates for Children's headquarters. If you guys need an address, we can get that to you. It's the same place as it was last week. So this is a really good opportunity. The Legacy Project is for some of their older kids who have been in the system. And a lot of these people that attend, they're there with foster parents and the like, are not going to have any other opportunity for Thanksgiving dinner. So they were very appreciative last year, and we look forward to doing it. Rotary Leadership Institute. Yes. Yeah, we've discussed it in broad brushstrokes. Rotary Leadership Institute is a 3-session class. If you're interested in leadership positions in Rotary, they're going to have sessions 1 and 2 on December 2nd. So if anyone is thinking they'd like to pursue a position of leadership within Rotary, this is a really, really good place to start. Samantha, I'm going to put you on the spot. What did you think about the first 2 sessions? And just to clarify, you either go to session 1 or session 2 on the 2nd. It's not both in the same day.
Well, what I found really interesting is that I wouldn't say interesting, but it really gives a really detailed description of Rotary, the history behind it, as well as the interaction between all the different clubs and those who are looking to be leaders in the different clubs here in Colorado. And that has been invaluable. We are on a Facebook group, as well as we have an email that goes back and forth every once in a while with ideas and suggestions and whatnot. And that has been just invaluable to a lot of people. So even if you have experience in leadership, there's a lot that you can learn from it, and just the networking is phenomenal.
Great, thank you. There's a cost associated with RLI. It's $40, but that will be reimbursed to you by the club. So it'll ultimately be no money out of your pocket in the end. I was hoping that Diane Zing would be here to talk a little bit about Santa Claus. The date for that is going to be December 13th. So kind of keep that on your calendar as well. We'll need as many people as possible over at the Coles in order to do the Santa Claus project. And on a little bit more of a sobering note, I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but Andres Asuna's wife, Yvonne, has got a brain tumor. That's the bad news. The good news is it's actually not within her brain. It's between the brain and the skull, and it's near a very inactive part of the brain. So her physician told her, if you're going to get a brain tumor, this is the one you want, and this is the place you want to get it. So she is going to have surgery this Friday on November 10th. Her prognosis is excellent. But anyway, keep her in your thoughts and prayers, and I reached out to her via Facebook. So if any of you are friends with her on Facebook, maybe reach out as well if there's anything that they need or if we just need to keep Andres in line. So please, again, reach out and let me know if there's anything you can do to help out. Do we have any travel gifts? All right. Samantha, I'm getting multiple people talking to me.
So last week I went to Port Orchard, Washington to visit my best friend and her bazillion children. And she's got 4 there and 2 here, so, you know, I had to go and help wrangle the kids in for Halloween. And it was the best vacation ever because I literally sat on the couch and ate popcorn for practically a whole week. So I lived in Tacoma, Washington for 9 years, so I did not need to go visit anything. It was wonderful. So what I did, some of the famous foods for the Pacific Northwest are applets and kotlets and smoked salmon. So that is what I brought because they are absolutely delicious. I would not suggest them together on the same cracker, though.
Good, thank you. Any other travel gifts? Mr. Ernest.
Last week, no, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I went with my family to Hawaii, and I did my darndest, my best due diligence to make sure that I brought back the appropriate rum. I tried their dark, I tried their white, I tried their coconut, I tried their coffee, but I ended up deciding on the spiced rum, which is good by itself or otherwise. So anyway.
Very nice.
Yeah, you have a lot of sugar there, you know.
And when you go back to Hawaii next week, you're going to bring something else again, too. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, take one for the team there, Randy. Tim Eunice was just waving to me, so a lot of you had requested sticky signs to attach to your polio pigs. So he's got them on the back table there if you want to grab one on the way out. It's a great way to put it on the back of your pig and have it sitting on your desk at work so you can solicit money from other folks. And speaking of pigs, if anybody has their polio pigs today, let's have a blessing and dumping of the pigs into the orange bucket if we could, please.
Just me?
It could be just you.
I want to know where the credit card page is.
Yeah. Patrick, as a good Catholic, would you like to do the blessing of the pigs as we empty? What?
I was like, should I wait?
No, you're okay. You're okay. I think that pig needed a little X-Lax before the dumping of the pig. But everything seemed to come out okay, though, so I think we're all right. Mr. Eunice, you had a smart-ass comment for the group? Oh, okay. All right, good. Mr. Ober, were you stuck in the 20-car plus pile-up on 470?
Goodness, was I ever.
Yes, well, join the club. I was there, too. So in case you want to know, in our first marginal traffic day, I believe that Darwin's theory is alive and at work in Denver. There was 20-plus car pileup going westbound on 470, and then at least 3 or 4 eastbound from the people who were doing the curiosity slowing, with at least one of those who flipped over the guardrail. So if you're going to leave here and want to go west after the meeting, do not get on 470. So, Mr. Ober, I'm glad you're here. Would you like to do Happy Bucks for us?
All right. It's time, and you'll have to excuse my casual attire. I got to spend 6 hours in a continuing ed class.
That's not for you.
All right, so what am I going to put the bucks in? Oh,
Your hands.
All right, so Ken Hope's happy.
I have two. It's always nice to see Frank Lohner. And my second happy buck is to our Christmas tree giveaway committee for all the hard work they're doing.
All right. Phil, you're not happy? Come on.
All my money.
Oh, anybody?
All right, a couple happy bucks for me. Michigan State Spartans continue to roll, so big win over Penn State over the weekend, so I'm happy about that. And then I just want to say thanks, and I'm happy for all the veterans out there that have served, and really appreciate that. Veterans Day is the 11th on Saturday, and appreciate their service.
All right. Anybody here? Oh.
I've got $5 for the sale of my house last Friday, and thanks to Cheryl.
Way to go, Cheryl.
Have two for two of my kids. One of them, came to me. That we've been doing that for about a couple months now. Started liking math and got 100 on his math quiz in school.
What?
Yes.
With your genes?
Not my kid. Yeah, he the tutoring center.
Just checking.
My kid failed school. Okay. And then one of the other kids, her confidence. She was a pretty smart kid, but she lacked confidence. Since coming to the center, her confidence has boosted, and she got accepted to the Gifted and Talented program.
Very nice.
All right, terrific.
I haven't seen Mark Paller. Is he here?
Nope.
Well, I have a happy buck because on Saturday he volunteered to come and help me pick up 1,660 pounds of canned items that we donated to Integrated Family Community Services yesterday. They were blown away when I pulled up with all that food.
Terrific. Okay, anybody at this table? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
I'm happy that I didn't have to watch the second half of the Broncos game on Sunday.
Go Broncos, right? Anybody over here? John? You get my text message this morning? I did.
And I'm happy that my neighbor was able to make it in here today.
Thanks, John.
I'm just happy because of the amount of support that we're seeing for this business mixer. Hope to see you there.
This past Friday, I accompanied John over here on Meals on Wheels. And, I had been warned ahead of time not to bang John's door. And unfortunately, I did bang the door, and the door fell off. So I have a bill here for the replacement of his door. So I feel that I need to donate at least $5 today. Anyway, it was a great experience going with John, and I saw parts of Denver that I had never even seen before. Thanks.
All right. Anybody over here?
Yeah, here's $5 because no one else at this table seems to be getting into their wallet, so.
Thank you. Oh, look.
Here we are. I have $1 because Patrick, who is yet a true member yet, went out and had a great time, and I hope the rest of you pay attention and let me know because I have 2 weekends available, 2 Friday slots available. Thank you.
All right, Trip.
Shape them into it. I have 2. One is for our newest members, almost members, Angie and Patrick. Good to have you guys. And I have one Colonel failed to mention. I'm sure just slipped his handsome haircut. That we have not only Veterans Day the 11th, but the Marine Corps birthday is the 10th. Hoorah!
All right.
Hoorah!
So I have 5. First of all, huge gratitude to the newest board. I super appreciate. I know kind of a bit of what it takes to run this club, and am eternally grateful to those who give of their time to do things like that. Shout out to the veterans and honor them this weekend. And for me, as all the Colorado teams are sucking, I'm inheriting the Georgia Bulldogs. So in 2 weeks, I will be between the hedges. Woot woot. And last but not least, one of the benefits of Rotary that I learned last week, I went in for jury duty, and it was for a trial that involved a lot of police officers as witnesses. And number 3 question was, do you have a friend or a relative who works for law enforcement? And yes, I do. Dave Welcher is not here, but I guarantee you I put that in big letters, and I am now out of it. So thank you to Dave Welcher.
Anybody else? Okay.
Good to know.
I got you.
All right, well, I have 3. One is for somebody that never gets appreciated, so I wanted to call her out and say how awesome she is, and it's Sandra Abeta, because she does all of the mentorships and pairs them up, and I just really appreciate her, and she's always in and out, but I just wanted to say how awesome she is, and I appreciate you very much. The second one is for Randy Ernst. Well, he didn't say because, this is confidential, but it's okay because I'm allowed to say it. He was drinking a lot last week because of one of my dearest friends that he's representing. And I know because I was too. And through a very interesting transaction, let's say. And I just want to give a shout out to Randy and how he handled that, because I know as I was on the opposite side handling her, it was very challenging. So I just appreciate him and his conduct in the midst of all of that. And then third, I want to just let you know that I have a millennial that I am trying to get into Rotary. And if you guys do elect me as president-elect, he's already said he was going to usurp my position. So if you're there on Thursday, you will meet him. So please come and meet the new coup master.
All right. Very nice.
Well, it's Tuesday, and Frank Lohner, I'm glad to see you back. It's been a long time. There's a few of us that remember you. So.
I got a couple bucks. One, Frank Lohner. To Frank Lohner, it's really good to see you again, Frank. You look the same. I hope you sound better. Really. And a happy buck to Ken Hope for spearheading that Christmas tree drive.
All right, Dr. Paul. Anybody else? Oh, of course, this table.
I have 5. The first one is I'm just asking everyone to please send positive waves to the Broncos. I think they need to build their confidence. Von Miller actually said, I don't think we're a very good football team right now, and that just crushed me. So I feel like they really need a lot of support, a lot of positive waves. Also, Colorado State University, who barely lost their game. So it was a tough football game weekend. Congratulations to our new potential board. I think they're all really, really great. To our new members, welcome to Frank Lohner. I think, this should get you inspired to rejoin our club. And my last one is the Airport Authority has a related organization called the Centennial Airport Foundation. And that foundation supports aviation and supports aviation education. And as you know from a previous presentation we had, there's a shortage of pilots in the world, in the United States. And this is an organization that promotes education, science, technology type of education, getting young men and women interested in aviation. And we are having a fundraiser for that, which is going to be huge. It's the 50th anniversary of Centennial Airport next spring. And our speaker is Captain Sullenberger. Really? And so next week I'll have some flyers on the table of about the event so that if you would like to come, you can buy tickets.
All right, terrific. John? 5. 5, that looks like a 20.
Yeah, well, I want 15.
Now I can't compete with Randy Pike, can I?
You're part of the reason I'm doing this. This accident this morning took me an hour to get here. Thank you.
Hey, I didn't cause it.
Oh, I thought and, for our past member who hopefully becomes a new member, welcome. And I'm just very happy to be in this organization. It's a great bunch.
All right.
But I got 10.
Ooh.
Well, I haven't been here, so, love you guys. But hard work pays off because I was told yesterday that our sales team is top 15. Each one of us is in the top 15 of individual sales managers in the nation for year over, and there's about 150 of us. So that's pretty big, and I'm in the top 5. So.
Woohoo! All right, I think that's it.
How do we get you number 1?
Right. For sure.
I got a couple bucks, and so I apologize for missing last week. I was supposed to do Happy Bucks last week. Unfortunately, I experienced the worst pain I've ever experienced in my entire life, and that's passing a kidney stone, and it is extremely painful. 3 o'clock in the morning last Tuesday. But I'm here today. I didn't think I'd make it because of the accident, but that's it. Oh, John. Good.
Can't forget me.
Can't believe I missed you.
I know.
You don't want change,
Tip.
do you?
We got a cash tip the other
want
day.
change?
No, I'm good. I've got 5. First off, I want to thank all the veterans in the group. Who all are veterans in here? Raise your hand. Your service is greatly appreciated. Also, a buck for Mr. Loner. I've missed his smiling face. Frank and I had great back and forth when he was a member of the club. I teased him unmercifully, and he took it with a grain of salt. I'd love to see you back in the club, Frank. I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but I want to make sure I put enough pressure on you. Another one is for my lovely wife. As you know, she had partial knee replacement 2 weeks ago. She's healing up very well. She's starting to go stir crazy, sitting around the house. So any of you that consider her to be a friend, call her up and take her somewhere. Get her out of the house, please, if at all possible. And then a buck for our new members. Thank you guys very much for joining. And the 5th one, because it's Tuesday. So with that, Cheryl, where did you go hide? Cheryl is going to introduce Mr. Loner, who is also our speaker today.
Well, I tell you, after 10 years of being in the Rotary, he's pretty tough to find. I was asked by John to try to get Frank as a speaker, and I could not find him. Every email I found for him came back as undeliverable, so I went and knocked on his door. I found his address as a realtor, and I went and knocked on his door, and his lovely wife, Linda, came to the door, and I said, "Am I at the house of the Loner family?" She said, "Yes." And she said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm trying to track down Frank." And he was very gracious. She was very gracious to pass on my little note to him, and he was very gracious to accept her invitation. But the reason we wanted Frank to come is because this week we're celebrating Veterans Day. I have 2 sons, and both are veterans, and one's still in the Army, making it a career. But Frank, prior to his getting involved in his current endeavors, owned a property and casualty insurance company. He sold that, found himself bored after he retired, and then decided, maybe I should help veterans. And so he is working currently in the Douglas County Castle Rock office as a Veteran Services officer, and he's helping the families as well as our veterans find help and assistance with their medical care, with burial services, with finding additional funds to support their income. I have so many of my clients who are veterans who don't even know about a lot of these things. And so I wanted to have Frank, as well as John, have Frank speak about what resources are available so that you, when you're rubbing shoulders with our veterans, that you can share with them where they can get help. Welcome, Frank.
Thank you. Is this working?
Yep.
Okay. Things have changed since I was here last. Usually you just get up here and talk, but now I've got video and a mic. And I've only done this once before with this, and I forgot to turn it off when I went into the men's room and created a bit of a stir. Anyway, thank you for having me come and speak today. I want to preface what I'm going to talk about because I'm new at this. I've only been doing this since April. So my main topic today is to try and give you some information or maybe a point of reference if you have a veteran that needs some help or along those lines. Some things never changed about the Rotary Club here is I guess the thing I missed the most was the banter back and forth. That was always kind of refreshing on a Tuesday morning. Catherine, it's good you got out of jury duty because if you, sometimes I wonder if I'm on trial there that the 12 people that are going to judge my case were dumb enough not to get off of jury duty. So that would always be a concern of mine. And since the sheriff left, I recently did get my ankle bracelet removed, so I feel like I'm part of the group again. Yes, I retired last November. I sold my insurance business, and I didn't take to retirement too well because I kind of got bored. I go out and visit our grandkids a lot in Southern California. As a matter of fact, kind of our gift to our family was to do a Disney cruise. And so we took my son, daughter, and 4 grandkids there, and my son and daughter-in-law, and my daughter and her husband here, and we all packed up and went off and did a Disney cruise. So if you've never done that, by all means, please do. It is a delightful time. So anyway, a little bit, can I move around here, or do I have to stand? So what I did was I saw an ad in the Parker Chronicle about helping veterans in Douglas County. I'm a Parker resident, so it kind of worked out good. I interviewed several times down there, and I don't know if I was the only guy interviewing, but or if there were others, but I ended up getting the position. So it's a volunteer position. It's 10 hours a week, and Monday 9 to 4, and Wednesday 9 until noon. So part of Douglas County is a county division of a state office called State Colorado Veterans Affairs. We are not the VA. We only help vets and represent them through the process of getting their VA benefits. So I don't work directly for the VA. I do not have access to their computer system. But the people at the state level, if I need to get some information, I can call them. They can get on the VA computer system, and we can kind of work through things. So just to kind of do a disclaimer there, I'm not a VA representative. I'm strictly a volunteer on this. I do get a small stipend, though, that kind of covers my expenses. So what I wanted to share with you today, I don't have a presentation. I brought this little 3-panel board there. Just to give you a point to where if veterans need help in getting their benefits and getting them set up, what happens all too frequently is you can go on the VA website and try and go through that. And in the 6 months that I've been there, there's one guy that got 98% through that whole process. He was a retired Air Force pilot. And the only reason he came into our office was to make sure that everything he did was proper and correct. And he's the only guy I've ever seen get that far through the VA website. So what we do is we try and build a case for a veteran. Once they come in and they're looking to try and get their benefits set up, we try and build a case, enough information, and get that submitted to the VA so they can get those benefits. It's layer upon layer upon layer of junk. If you've ever dealt with the government, you know. So getting all this stuff in the proper order and in the way to submit it to the VA so that this veteran can get this. So here's what happens. I've been there 6 months, roughly. The very first intake I got was almost 6 months ago. And believe it or not, he's like barely through the process. So a minimum of 3 months, if you could just build the case perfectly and get this done, they may get some benefits. But more like 6 months to a year from the time they initially apply until the time that they will get a benefit check. Now, we do a thing, once a vet comes in, I'm just going to share some of the mechanics with you so you know. Once a vet comes in, excuse me, I just got a cold, but. So we do the intake, we get that set up, and we have what we call an intent to file. So if they came into my office like yesterday, I had a new vet come in, which was the 6th. So that date is an intent to file or save the date. So however long this process goes on, everything is going to go back to that date, so back to November 6th. So if it took us 9 months to get his benefits set up, all of his pay would be retro back until the 6th. So the process is long, but the thing, oh, thank you. But the thing is that we just need to get it in the system and follow up and help the vet through this. So that's kind of what I do. I work with Douglas County only, but if you have a vet that lives in Arapahoe or Jeffco or somewhere and they need some help, by all means have them call me. I brought some cards on the table here. I'll be more than happy to try and help them out. If not, I'll get them to the person that can help them out in their county. The only reason it's Douglas County only is because that's how we get funded. So the more vets we help in Douglas County, the more service officers like myself are available. So let's get into a little bit about some of the services that veterans can apply for. The main thing would be a disability, something that occurred on active duty that through the years has gotten worse. So each war in which veterans are involved in each different time period has their own different issues. For instance, I haven't worked with a World War II vet yet. I haven't met one in Douglas County. I've met several outside the county. But Korea, haven't met any vets from that era. I have a lot of Vietnam vets. Let me preface that about my my military service. I joined the Marine Corps out of high school in 1968 and discharged in 71. So I spent basically 3 years in the Corps, and I was fortunate. I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, if I go to Vietnam, please bring me back the way I left. And as it would turn out and as it would play out, I ended up spending my entire tour in Okinawa. And so I did not have one bullet shot at me in anger. So I came back the way I basically left and went on about my life and used my GI Bill and so forth. But I see a lot of vets from Vietnam, and their biggest issue is Agent Orange. And to see what that's done to some of our veterans is incredibly, it's sad. They have a lot of various issues from that, and in order to try and qualify for that particular type of disability, you only had to be in country for 1 day. And if you were there, you would potentially qualify. This is anything from any type of cancer you can imagine to diabetes, to heart conditions, to high blood pressure. A lot of these things are linked to that. So as a Veterans Affairs officer, I have to find out what happened to them while they were on active duty and make that connection to today and try and build that case for a disability. So that's my number one job that I do. The other portion of that is called pension and survivor benefits. A lot of spouses that have lost, or a living spouse that has lost a military person, and their income is really pretty low. There's some benefits there for spousal pensions, as well as the veterans. So we try and cover as much ground in those two areas as we can. Some of the other areas here about health care and burial benefits, I can be of assistance to, but I don't really get into that. I try and get the vet where they need to be to get that assistance via the computer or a telephone call. So overall, we try and get as much as we can for the veteran as far as a disability and a compensation. Now, I mentioned something. Each war has its different set of problems. In the Gulf War and Operation Iraqi Freedom and some of the other things that go on in the Middle East, they have an issue called burn pits. And I never knew what a burn pit was. I thought I did, but I really didn't. Well, burn pits are the military has, we don't have a landfill that we can just dispose of all of our stuff. And I'm talking stuff about airplane parts, I'm talking about body parts, I'm talking about whatever garbage or junk we have left there, we have to get rid of it. So they build these big pits and they burn this stuff, and some of the living quarters are downwind of all of this stuff being burnt. So guess where all those noxious fumes go and who breathes those things with no protection? So that's a set of issues that, is my time up? So that's an issue for this current war. There was another little thing that came up. It's actually not little, it's huge, but I didn't realize it. In Camp Lejeune, which is a large Marine Corps base, for 33 years, the guy who had the dry cleaning contract was leaking chemicals into their water system. Okay, so when the military found out about this, obviously they fixed it. But for all this period of time, you have people, active duty personnel on the base, drinking this water. But guess what? You have dependents, you have families. They're all getting the water from the same tap. Problem is they've had numerous various things from birth defects to various cancers. And this is happening not only to the military personnel, but the civilian populations on the base as well. So that's another set of issues that we have to kind of go through. I want to go back a little bit more to Vietnam because that was my generation. The Agent Orange thing, sometimes we've got a case right now that it's been going on for 2 years. The guy was TDY, or temporary duty, if you don't know what that means, but in Laos. He was in a tank unit in Korea, but he got deployed to Laos in the late 60s, like 68. Well, guess what? We were not supposed to be in Laos. So there was no record of him being there, even though he got the Bronze Star, and he was the only living member of his entire tank unit where they got ambushed. So he has got problems like you wouldn't believe, health-wise. Now he's losing his eyesight. But we are trying to get enough records together to send to the VA so we can prove that he was actually in Laos. And his commanding officers have since retired and have died. And so this thing is just going on and on. And sometimes I think, this is negative, but in my short tenure with the VA Veterans Affairs, I think sometimes maybe the VA wants to string this out so the veteran dies before the benefits are ever paid. So we have to stay on top of that as a Veterans Affairs officer and do as much as we can to get this claim filed and get it paid and get it done quickly. So that's kind of my job in essence. I don't want to get a lot of technical stuff with you here, so I'll leave this open for questions here in just a moment. A couple of dates that ring dear to me, and one is Saturday, of course, is Veterans Day. Friday is the Marine Corps birthday. Hoorah, Semper Fi, Devil Dog. The Marine Corps will be 242 years old this Friday, November 10th. My birthday is November 9th, which I was born the year after the Marine Corps was founded. So that's why I remember the Marine Corps. And Greg's here. I know Greg's a former Navy veteran. And I was going to join the Navy, Greg, and my dad spent 20 years in the Navy. And the Navy and the Marine Corps has this thing going back and forth between them. So when I was 18 years old and I went down to join the Navy, the recruiters that I were going to see were all in this building, and there were these 3 Marine guys with all kinds of ribbons, their pretty blue uniforms with the red stripe down the leg, and they saw me in the hallway and they go, "Young man, where are you going?" I go, "I'm going to join the Navy." "Well, come in and let us talk to you. Let us share some ideas with you." So an hour later, I was sworn in as in the USMC. Now, the reason I bring that up with Greg, because he knows the relationship with the Navy and Marines. I went home and told my father, I said, "Dad, I joined the Marine Corps." Well, after a few brief words that I won't repeat here, he said, "I thought I raised you better." And he laughed for a minute, and then he dawned on him. He said, "Were you just kind of a dumb A?" I said, "Why?" He says, "You're going to go to Vietnam." And I go, "Oh, really?" So anyway, I did join the Marine Corps, and it was a 2-year enlistment. And part of that 2-year enlistment was they guaranteed me some sunshine, white beaches in Southeast Asia. So that was one of the incentives. But anyway, so the Marine Corps will be 242 years old. So I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm proud of the service. My time in the Marine Corps, I learned a lot. And the last thing I'll say about the Marines is I was on a golf course the other day, and I was wearing a hat that says USMC on it. And I had this young guy that I was playing golf with. He came up to me and he says, "Were you in the Navy?" And I go, "Okay, why do you ask that?" He says, "'Cause of your hat." And I said, "Does it say Navy?" He goes, "Well, no, but I thought Navy, isn't there some relationship?" And I go, "Well, they're the parent company, we're the junior company, but I wasn't in the Navy, so let me explain to you how that works." So we had a little conversation, and that was that. So my main focus today was to let you know that I'm a veteran service officer in Douglas County. I have access to the entire state of Colorado, be it on the Grand Junction, the Eastern Plains, wherever it happens to be. We can find some help for veterans. And most times I find veterans come to us because they talked to another veteran and said, "Were you aware that I got these benefits?" So the main things are the Agent Orange currently, knee problems, get a lot of vets with knee problems, and hearing problems. Because in the late 60s, no one wore hearing gear. I get these guys on ships that were on battleships and cruisers, and they're firing off all those weapons. And back in the 60s, we don't have headgear, so nobody was covering their ears. So A lot of those issues. So I will open it up to a few questions and we'll press on. Yes, sir.
Are you seeing any of this opioid stuff?
As a matter of fact, yes. I just had a veteran come in 2 days ago and lots of back issues. He's on his 4th surgery. And the physician wanted to do something about fusing something in the back, but he wasn't going to do it because the guy was overweight. And sometimes I think like, okay, dude, get your act together. You need to lose some weight so you can get your back fixed. And then he shows me his prescription list. And yeah, every time he goes to the doctor, it's a different prescription. He's got 6 bottles of various opioids that he takes for pain. But yes, that's becoming a problem. Yeah, Phil.
What do you do with the unemployment, the employment issues as far as the vets coming out of service?
I do not get directly involved in unemployment. I do have a place on 1245 South Santa Fe. It's through the Volunteers of America. They help vets with employment. They help vets with housing for homeless vets and things like that. So I refer them to those folks, and they have a list of jobs and stuff. Yeah.
I'm just curious why it would take a year for somebody to start getting benefits. Does it have to do with the number of veterans that are out there and applying, or does it have to do with the efficiencies of the Veterans Administration?
That's a rhetorical question, right?
In answer to your question, the best thing I can figure out is their staffing and their IT systems are archaic. And so when I get a vet coming into our office, I fill out all the forms and I can't even upload it electronically. I have to print it out paper-wise and mail it. And then it gets into a hopper, and if you don't do everything by the numbers, guess what? It gets put back. And so they'll take a month or 2 to let you know that they didn't get this particular form. So it's staffing, and their IT system is just old. Yes, sir.
Frank, is the building on Revere Parkway part of your organization? I think it's Colorado Department of Military Affairs.
That would be the Arapahoe County.
Oh, is it?
believe.
I thought it said Colorado Department of Military Affairs. So.
Yeah, it's State of Colorado Department of Military Affairs. Their main office is, they have 2 offices, one on Colorado Boulevard and then one out in Lakewood. But I think what you're referring to is the Arapahoe County office. Yeah, Mark?
Frank, what's it going to take to get things better with the VA?
Do you want my answer on that?
Please.
Yeah, I'd say can the whole thing and start all over. The layers of bureaucracy are just incredibly bad, and they don't communicate well. So, you know, you got this whole new VA hospital out here in Aurora. Have you seen that? Yeah, they're having problems staffing it. So that's just going to get worse.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the address again for the unemployment?
1245 South Santa Fe Drive, so it's on the corner of Santa Fe and 12th.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Don't leave. So, Frank, we're still doing a tradition here, and that is we donate books to a small elementary school library in honor of our speakers. So one of the books that we donate will have a book plate exactly like this put in it in honor of you.
Oh,
so there's a copy for you. And then we're still doing the blue marble drawing, and our speaker gets to do that. So Mr. Livingston is going to have you pull a number, and we'll see how happy you make somebody.
Oh, you may read the numbers?
Yeah.
Check my numbers. 698. 698.
Hey.
Not me, but who is 698?
We're going to draw another.
Draw another.
No one had 698?
Somebody's got to have 698.
Check my numbers.
No, sir.
Well, give me the last three. Okay, 712.
Mr. Buck.
I would like to donate Tom's winnings to Frank.
Wait, 698.
There's lunch.
Hold it high. One clear, one more. Hold it up, hold it up.
Let's try again. You're not even trying.
Oh, too bad. All right, thank you.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
I enjoyed being part of the Rotary Club here. I was 2 weeks short of being a charter member when they first started, and it's incredible to see how much you've grown and some of the stuff you're doing here. But the one thing I remember about Rotary here is 9/11/2001. We were meeting in here that day, and I've never forgotten that because I walked outside and I watched the towers coming down after our meeting. And I've never forgotten that. And Mark's wife, she was waiting for him with his daughters, and she came in and said, very somberly, "America's under attack." And we were all sitting here going, "What?" And so coming back here just brings back a memory of that I've never, ever forgotten. And so that's a long time ago, but I just wanted to share that with you.
All right. Okay. Frank, thank you very much.
John, just one announcement. If you haven't had your picture taken for the website, please see Don after the meeting today. I know there's a number of you here that haven't done it, and then we'll get you posted on the website. Thank you.
Or if you've had your picture taken and don't like it, we can take another one for you. So
Hey, John,
could y'all...
we have a short Christmas tree giveaway committee after our meeting today as well. Thank you.
Sure, good enough. So could y'all rise and join me in the four-way test? For all we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Do good and have fun.